Got nothing against Eminem, Eminem can rap, but I care about us more.
And homie, you got it wrong. Homie ain't getting on just cause homie got a song.
Buckle up, buckle up, buckle up, buckle up, buckle up. 5 times.
Or ghetto was a Jewish term. They was in the ghetto.
Shout out to
first.
the art of dialogue, man.
And now we found ourselves in the ghetto. Crack came, it was an epidemic, and it was an epidemic. It was worse. It was the worst thing that our culture probably ever experienced. So here comes hip hop, and hip hop is born out of the struggle, out of the poverty, out of the horrible conditions, out of the ghetto.
Sides and shit.
Got nothing against Eminem, Eminem can rap, but I care about us more.
In my eyes and in my spirit, I look at it as hip hop was given to us by God. Because when you look at hip hop, you can look at it as a music, but it really is a movement. When hip hop came, it was born out of that. You know, so we can't take that for granted. You know, so hip hop started thriving. Now people starting to make money from hip hop because the white community is looking at this like, yo, this art, this dancing, this music, this is dope. You know, this is probably the first time they're looking at us in a way.
Black culture, which is American culture.
In a good way, in a good light. I'm sure R&B artists before them and artists before them, white people came and listened. Music is really what has bridged the gap with us and white people. I mean, when you can take that back to the early black and white videos. I'm just saying, when it comes to hip hop, the street guy, the guy that everybody forgets about, the guy like the kid that nobody wants to deal with, you know, that's where hip hop came from. So hip hop, you know, you have a kind of like a ladder of black people in society at all times. Where hip hop was birthed from was at the last, was like the low part of the totem pole, the lowest part of the totem pole. Like nobody wanted to deal with these niggas, criminals, crooks, no money. I mean, nobody even wanted to trust them. Even if you wasn't robbing nobody, you're still looked upon as that back then and still now. But I'm just saying, hip hop gave us an identity to the world, like, yo, these people are dope, these people are great. That particular part of black people, like the forgotten, the back and forth to jail, the on probation, to have a couple of kids on child support, like those guys, the drug dealer, the drug user. These guys, and now hip hop's coming into the neighborhoods, to the core of the neighborhoods, and starting to shed some light on it, putting some money in people's pockets. People who can't get jobs. When you come out of jail, it's hard as hell to get a job. Not in hip hop. All kind of things you can do and you can be. Hip hop's thriving. Source magazine, I know. I watched it, money-wise. Hip hop changed our lives. It changed my life. It's the reason why I'm living. It's the reason why the people around me are living. Everybody in Boston been shot. Everybody in Boston, so many people are dead in like a little 15, 20 mile radius of what Black Boston is. The outside, everything else is racist.
Me being from Boston, I can 1,000 trillion% vouch for what Benzino was saying. You know what I'm saying? The nerve of motherfuckers outside of Boston to think that there's not inner cities everywhere in America. What it's like for black people outside of Boston to dismiss the black part of Boston is like, it's almost like black people as a whole trying to explain black history to white people. White people are like, that's how Boston is to black people around the country. It's like, man, Boston, man, some niggas in Boston. It's so much rich black history started in Boston, like particularly Roxbury. That, I mean, a lot of people should read up on, at least get familiar before you start with all that Boston. You know what I'm saying? Eminem saying mean streets of Boston. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep that where you at.
They hate my guts because of my color. That's what I grew up in. But hip hop saved me and it saved everybody else. And we're bringing white people to our culture. We don't need to have a white rapper to bring white people, because white people are coming. People are going gold with no radio. That means white people are buying into our culture. Like when Russell Simmons signed Beastie Boys, we didn't look at Beastie Boys as a white rap group. We just looked at them as rappers because hip hop was inclusive. He's not saying, no, you're white, you can't rap. Nobody looked at that. The Beastie Boys was part of my heroes, as well as Run DMC and Houdini and everybody else that was on the Fresh Fest.
I'm sure.
So it wasn't like that. Eminem comes. Now, when Eminem came, MTV was an all rock type situation. They barely even wanted to give Michael some money. Prince, they had to go crazy because just trying to get black artists on MTV was like crazy. And their excuses was like, well, wait a minute, we're a rock. And since rock is white, then that means that we don't want no niggas on MTV. Y'all go over there to BET. You know what I'm saying? That happened. Eminem comes in and just gets all his videos played at all times, gets whatever he wants at MTV. It was just too obvious. What happened was,
let me say this. MTV had definitely, you know what I'm saying? This is the narrative he's speaking on, I would say, is a lot more 80s. But it also applied to the 90s as well, because MTV had, you know what I'm saying, Yo MTV Raps and what was the earlier one? You know what I'm saying, Ralph McDaniels. You know, you had particular shows that catered particularly to hip hop on MTV, but as far as like the MTV Awards, the mainstream stuff, like no, hip hop wasn't really, a main thing. They weren't getting mentioned with the Britney Spears or the NSYNC until Eminem popped off. That's when it was like, oh, that's when the mainstream MTV audience really started listening to rap. Because Eminem.
The labels figured that, look, we have all these white kids, okay? It was like a gift and a curse. Number one, we're making all this money from hip hop and they see where all the money is. But they realized that there was a part, and they see that white America, portions of white America fucking with hip hop and fucking with black people. Now they had a coin type of thing in one flip. On one hand, it's like, on one side of the coin, it's like, yeah, that's dope. White kids are buying, you know what I'm saying? And the labels, we can make all this money. But then the other hand is like, but wait a minute. These young kids are being influenced by these black kids, and we better calm the fuck down with that. We better relax on that. Little Johnny and Sally might have too many black people on their walls, too many posters right now. We gotta chill out from that. And that's where the Eminem thing came in. Now, they looked at Eminem like, listen, he can rap his ass off, black America's fucking with him, like fucking right, you know what I'm saying? And we'll put him around some Detroit guys, all black. You gotta understand, he was born in St. Joe's, Missouri.
You know that?
Yeah, that's where he was born, till he lived there till he was like 10 years old. From 1 to 10, your mind is being shaped on what your parents are looking at America as. His views of black people are probably like whatever any other white person's views of a black person was who wasn't around him in that part of the country. They didn't fuck with us. Now, because I say that, doesn't mean white America has to get mad at me at this moment. That's what white America has to stop doing. You don't have to be embarrassed. You don't have to be, because at the end of the fucking day, this happened and this is what it is. We can all work it out and be together as one. I'm all for it. But don't get mad at me or any black person when they bring up what happened in the past or how it happened or how white America with us. That's what white America has to stop doing. Because I notice white America gets mad about anything that we might bring up in the past because they just want to block it out. That's cool. That's cool, but that's y'all. Have some empathy. And part of getting along, part of fixing this racial division is to have empathy, and let's all talk it out. And let's all figure it out. But do not get upset at a person explaining a story or explaining a situation of racism. That's what white America has to stop doing. And they're hardworking white people. They're not necessarily, I wouldn't say they're racist, but they're proud of being white, of who they are up there in Michigan. So Marshall goes to Michigan and he gets with 2 other white guys and they start rapping. And they start having the rap racist out because we laid the blueprint of hip hop journalism. To this day, it will go down in history as the blueprint of hip hop journalism. And the Hip Hop Award Show will be the blueprint. A lot of things will be the blueprint. Will go down in history, the source. So I'm looking at, like, when I'm at the source and here comes Marshall Mathers and, you know what I'm saying, everybody praising him. In my mind, they're praising him because he's white. And then I'm seeing and yeah, he could rap, but the praise he was getting, it was because he was white. I don't care what anybody has to say. I don't care. We could debate till the cows come home. It was obvious. That's why MTV gave him carte blanche. That's why MTV Awards gave him carte blanche. That's why Showtime, everything that was out, there was big platforms, he got it. All these other artists that been paving the way, that been killing them, can't even get near the type of treatment and platform and all the extras that he's getting. And it's not fair. You never know who God will choose to represent, to speak for, to waking up. You never know. Same thing with Martin and Malcolm. Martin went to Boston University. Malcolm got locked up and was in the streets in Boston. It all makes sense to me. Believe me, like, you know what I'm saying? Hip hop, if I never said it and no one never said it, it wouldn't be as still going on 20 years later and as big as it is, because it meant something. I just felt that hip hop was given to us by God. It was something that brought white people to us, something that bridged the gap between the cultures, between especially white and black. And I felt like when they brought him in, it was to divide it. And that's what they've done now. Because there's a whole bunch of white people who fuck with Marshall, who just don't fuck with black people, period. They was never gonna fuck with hip hop, but because he raps and he's white and they know the #1 influence over culture is hip hop. So if he's the #1 hip hop artist, then he's over us. It gives them, they deal with white supremacy through him.
Not that point. I'm gonna address the first point. The first point about there are people that probably would have never fucked with hip hop unless, until Eminem got there. That's just being relatable. I mean, that's Barack Obama, Tiger Woods. You know what I mean? Like, there are people who would have never really got into politics until they seen Barack Obama. People who never voted for president. It was the first time they ever voted for president. Black people. Until Barack Obama got in. Yeah, because he was a nigga. People who never watched golf. You know what I'm saying? That supported Tiger Woods. There are black people who never watched golf before until Tiger Woods got in. Never watched tennis until Serena Williams got in. You know what I mean? And they were all great, like Eminem. Elite at what they do. But let's not try to dismiss the fact that their popularity, the amount of success, has to be attributed to tribal reasons. You know what I'm saying? People supporting them because they feel like they relate to them because of how they look. And the same thing happened or is happening with Eminem. Thing is, when you say it about Eminem, like, people lose their shit. That includes white people and the black Eminem stands, who you usually have to check who they're fucking, in order to understand, the way they view the world.
It's not even about the music. The people that go on and big him up all day and lift him up, it's more of a white supremacy thing. It's more of a we're white, we're better than you as usual thing. And that's how I've always looked at it.
When I say shit about
can he rap? When people say that, it just disturbs me, man. Yo, but he can rap. It's not like he can, what does that mean he can rap? This is bigger than rap. Hip hop has always been bigger than rap.
I gotta listen to this, bro.
Him and his white guys made the Rap Racist Hour. He did it when he was 21 years old. The label came out and said he was 16. And he had a black girlfriend. Now look at Look at how they insulted our black people's intelligence.
Y'all
Look
never
at how
thought of this.
Universal at the moment, Jimmy Iovine, insulted the intelligence of black people around the world. They're in a room. Man, we got to fix this. What are we going to say? A lot of PR people that's getting big money. All we got to say is that he was 16 when he did it. 16, because people figure, hey, he's a kid. Kids make mistakes. He had a black girlfriend. Let's say she was black. And she broke his heart. Now let's just take this scenario as two intelligent men. At 16 years old, when you look at what he looked like and how he was coming up, there is no fucking way on earth he was in love with the girl. I don't even think he was getting pussy. He was awkward. I mean, you could just, there are pictures. You could just see it. Let alone a black girl. You was in love with a black girl at 16 years old.
Don't do that.
No pictures. So this was the excuse on why you made the song. The song's called Foolish Pride, where it's calling all black women bitches and hoes and whores, and they just want you for your money and blah, 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 blah. We did our homework. The cassette was made by Maxell. Remember Maxell?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
There was Memorex and Maxell. Those were the cassettes. We did our homework and found out that the serial number on the cassette, the tape was made when he was 21 years old. Two of his guys showed up in Dave's office one day, the white guys, his best friends that he grew up with, was in the rap group with, that made the tape with, brought us the tape. And then he made a song called Yellow Brick Road, where in the song he apologized. Sure that hip hop is for everybody, but still hip hop is still the dominant of the black culture.
Hold on. He did make, here's the thing, you know what I'm saying, when you, as I've seen recently, you know what I'm saying, I have a TikTok as well, and I shared a short of the Eminem, the Foolish Pride thing, and excerpts of it. You know, and most of the responses are about, you know, Eminem apologized on Yellow Brick Road. Yeah, he did. You know what I'm saying? I listened to Yellow Brick Road back then, and then I went back and listened to it. And it's like, basically what Eminem was explaining on Yellow Brick Road was that in order to make his white girlfriend at the time, Kim, jealous at the time, in high school, meaning he was with Kim, he was still doing crazy shit with Kim, and still ended up doing crazy shit as he got older with Kim, which probably, you know, gives credence to Benzino's point that my man probably wasn't getting no pussy. Kim was still with, you know what I mean? But anyways, he's using this black girl who he describes with, I would say, would be nice characteristics for a white guy to look at. He describes her with big jugs. Don't know nigga use big jugs. You know? He said she had big jugs and she had blue contacts. Made sure to differentiate the fact that, you know, these were blue contacts and not real blue eyes. Maybe he doesn't know that black people can have blue eyes, or, you know, maybe he just wanted to make that point. But he uses this black girl. He finds a black girl that, you know, he found attractive enough, or had, you know, Eurocentric features enough for the point for him to pursue. And then, you know, she cheats on him. So he says, so she cheats on him. So he says. And then he makes this tape. And he also makes other remarks on that tape about just black people in general. And that was because a few black people had picked on him for, you know, wearing like the African beaded chain or whatever. So he, you know, he found reason to diss black people as an entire group. And, you know, that was pretty much the gist of Yellow Brick Road. But, you know, you guys take that for, you know, for what you will. Yeah.
And the thing is, they've held on to him so long that there isn't another white rapper to carry the torch. So what are they gonna do now? That's why they have to keep bigging him up. At 53 years old, he'll be 60 something. Like it won't stop because there's nobody else for them to feel dominant over our culture. There's nobody else that came and took the torch. So that's why they're holding on to him so much. Because his music, let's face it, bro. Like, let's face it, his music is not what black people are listening to, and it's outdated. His beats are outdated. The last music he's dropped, it really doesn't resonate with black culture. Like, let's just be honest. And mind you, he gave me a hard time for rapping in my 40s and 50s, and here he is still making, you know what I'm saying? The reason why his fans hold on is because who else do they have to hold as the overseer of our culture, the best, the supreme? They don't got nobody else and nothing else. Once he goes, that's it. It's over. White people, a lot of white people will feel like they don't have a seat at the table anymore.
That's it.
And they're trying to hold that seat as hard as they can and as long as they can. But once he goes, that's it. Jack Harlow, he raps too black. He sounds too black. Machine Gun Kelly could have, but even Machine Gun Kelly getting on Bad Boy is just too black. Eminem was the white that the white needed because his music is white now. But it's white rap, white hip hop. Eminem could literally come out with some hickory dickory dock shit tomorrow and they'll go double platinum.
Facts.
All they want to do is keep buying his shit because in their mind, if he's the top selling artist, then he'll go out in history as the best, i.e. Elvis. He's the best over a culture of 1,000 rappers and black rap rappers who are the shit. That's how it'll go in history after me and you are dead. When they look back, who sold the most? Eminem. Oh, he must have been the greatest. White people live for history. Black people live for the moment. Eminem was definitely sat around a table and planned. So if that's it, if that's what a plan is, you know what I'm saying? In my mind, if that's what a plan is, then he was planned. That was a plan. They seen how much money hip hop was making, and they seen a whole country of white people that they could sell potential. That wouldn't give a fuck about black culture in the first place. So that was planned. And when you do that, you divide. You divide.
Look, man. Basically, Benzino pretty much articulated more than I thought he would, to be honest with you, as far as like going in depth about, you know, the psychological ramifications of Eminem and his presence and you know, just how the numbers affect Eminem's success. Just the pure numbers of the census of people who identify as white in this country, you know, or identify as anti-black. You know, listen, man. I think y'all are going way too hard on Benzino, man. Y'all not thinking, man. Like you expect someone of, you know, Eminem's hue to be like, yeah, this is all bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, y'all hate him because he's white. You can't blame people, you know, for saying that. Like, if it was a black person, you'd probably say the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all just hate him because he's black and he's good at what y'all do. But for the black people, you guys have to understand what's being said here. You guys have to, you're not listening.
Anything that's negative to do with Eminem, they gonna side with that side, trying to knock Eminem off his high horse, bro. Them bitches just out.
Y'all the fucking worst.
You know what I mean? Because it's not just the black stands, it's the other ones. Benzino just hating. Like, you niggas is ignorant. You know what I mean? Like, me being from Boston, like, I akin Eminem to like Larry Bird in the NBA, right? No matter how great anybody else is in the NBA, here in Boston, you will not hear many people from Boston, many white people from Boston say there's a greater player than Larry Bird. They know Michael Jordan's better. They're gonna say Larry Bird because Larry Bird was in that ilk of greatness, as Eminem is in that ilk of greatness of all, you know, the greats of you know, rap of all time. So they're gonna hold on to that, just like people here in Boston hold on to Larry Bird, which should be okay. But if someone objects and say, "Yo, man, a lot more people than that," you know, and he's getting these, you know, these numbers and his success because of A and B, and A and B are true variables. What the fuck else are we talking about? You know what I mean? But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe if you like the content. Scan the QR code to donate to the channel. This has been Doing It for GP. Till next time. Yeah, man, the black stanzas.
Ain't gotta say shit, you already know how to take over. Immaculate, I'ma get a game and make over.